Good evening. I'll call this meeting of the Cartersville City Council to order. If you'll please stand for our invocation and pledge.
If you'll bow your heads with me. Our dear Heavenly Father, thank you for our many, many blessings. Please touch the hearts of those in our city family who are sick and need your peace and guidance. Lead and guide this council in all that we do. All this we ask in the holy and precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Keelan, the roll, please.
Carrie Hodge, Ward 1. Here. Jay Stepp, Ward 2. Louis Tonsmeyer, Ward 3.
Right here.
Lindsay McDaniel, Ward 4.
Here.
Diane Tate, Ward 5.
Here.
Lori Pruitt, Ward 6.
Here.
Thank you, Connie. Our first order of business is the approval of our meeting minutes from our meeting that was, when was that held?
2 weeks ago.
I don't have my book open. From our September 17th meeting. Council, we've had these well in advance of tonight. If there's any need to make any edits or additions or deletions, you can make them at this time, and if not, a motion is in order.
Mayor, I didn't see any corrections, additions, or deletions. Make a motion to approve.
Second that.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved unanimously. We have a few second readings and public hearings and whatnot. Mr. Menino, why don't you get us started out with AZ 15-04.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is an annexation and zoning request at 918 Jones Mill Road for a single-family home. As with all the cases that we have on the agenda tonight, it has been properly posted and advertised. There appears to be no conflicts of interest. There have been no additions or changes since the first reading, and Planning Commission did recommend approval of the annexation and zoning to the R20 category.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Randy at this point? Thank you, sir. We will handle the zoning portion of this request first with a public hearing. With the zoning portion of AZ 15-04, anybody wishing to step forward, speak for or against may do so at this time. And seeing none, I'll close the public hearing for the zoning portion. Now open up a public hearing for the annexation portion of AZ 1504. Once again, anybody who'd like to speak for or against may step forward and do so at this time. And seeing none, I will close that public hearing. Now, council, it's up for you to consider first the annexation portion of the request for AZ 15-04.
Mayor, just a question of the chief, please.
Which one?
Our fire chief. Either chief will be just fine. Chief, there is a disclaimer on here about 918 Jones Mill and the lack of sufficient fire suppression.
To clarify that, we have no objection whatsoever to the zoning or annexation. We simply pointed out that on that particular parcel, that parcel is greater than 1,000 feet away from a fire hydrant, so therefore it would not qualify for the Class 1 ISO rating. They would have a split rating of 1X. That 1X will be determined by whoever their insurance carrier is. And just in full disclosure, we would make sure that that property owner was aware of that at the time of their application.
Thank you. So it's just about insurance with the
Primarily, yeah,
individual and
the
their-
fire suppression is there. Actually, between the automatic aid agreements between us and Bartow County, we're already covering the area anyway, so we don't see any significant changes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions or discussion? If there are none, a motion would be in order. Oh, excuse me, wait a second. Yeah. Am I doing that right? Yeah, I am. Did you keeping me straight? Yeah, motion is in order for the annexation portion of 15-04.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Now it's in your hands for the zoning portion of the request of AZ 15-04.
Make a motion to approve the zoning.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Randy, if you'll please continue with AZ 15-05.
Thank you again, Mayor and Council. This particular property is 3 acres located at 19 and 27 Johnson Lane. Very similar to the previous request for annexation and rezoning to the R20 single-family residential zoning category. And the Planning Commission did recommend approval of both the annexation and rezoning to the R20 single-family residential category. No additions or changes since the first reading. If I
Okay.
forgot to.
All right, any questions for Mr. Menino at this point? Seeing none, I'll open up a public hearing for the zoning portion of AZ 15-05. Anybody wishing to step forward, speak for or against, may do so at this time. And seeing none, I'll close the public hearing for the zoning portion of the application and open up a public hearing for the annexation portion of the application AZ 15-05. And again, anybody wishing to step forward, speak for or against, may do so at this time. And seeing none, I will close that public hearing. And now, council, it's up to you to handle the annexation portion of this request.
Make a motion to approve the annexation.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. And now for the zoning portion of the request.
Make a motion to approve the zoning.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Menino, Z 1505.
Thank you again, Mayor and Council. This request is just a zoning request. The property is located along Tennessee Street. The actual frontage is on Tennessee Street, but this acre lies behind the property that they already have zoned OC on the front. The back portion of the property is on PS, which was a little less intense commercial zoning category or non-residential zoning category. The applicant desired to get the whole property zoned with the same category. With that, the Planning Commission did recommend approval of this application. There have been no additions or changes since the first reading.
Okay. Questions for Randy on this item? And if there are none, thank you, Randy. I'll open up a public hearing for the zoning, this rezoning application Z 1505. Anybody wishing to step forward, speak for or against, may do so at this time. And seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, and council, it's up to you for any further questions, discussions, or for final consideration.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Quit claim deed lien release. Mr. Osborne, is that you?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. In 2011, the current owner of property at 119 Estate Drive not only purchased the property, but participated in the city's first-time homebuyer program. This is a program that's no longer in effect. This was through a federal grant. The city is now, based on our level of development and affluence, non-competitive compared to other cities in the state. But with this program, first-time home buyers could receive a 5-year forgivable loan of $10,000. Since the 2011 purchase has not gone 5 years, the current property owner who wishes to sell needs to pay the city back $2,000 of that loan. And so the city attorney's office has reviewed the quitclaim deed to release the lien, but at the same time will work with staff and the property owner to ensure that the follow-up procedure is handled in a legally appropriate manner to get the funds.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Richard on this item?
Mayor, just one. Richard, we're not competitive anymore because of our affluence, but this program's been really good for a lot of people. I mean, are there cities and counties around us that are still competitive? I mean, I want us to be affluent.
There are probably cities that are within driving distance, like Tallapoosa, to the southwest, or maybe if you go up into the mountains, out from Dalton, something like that. But places like Canton, Woodstock would also not be competitive
Marietta.
anymore. I don't know about Marietta. I'm not sure about that.
So it's not a tiered
doubt it.
kind of, it's not a tiered program. It's just a straight demographics and by salary. Is it that kind of, is that how the whole city is judged?
We've submitted recently twice and were denied, and the feedback we got back from DCA was that it's not really worth city staff's time and the time of our city county grant writers, because we're probably going to get turned down in the future.
I got you. Do you know how many people have benefited from it? I mean,
Approximately 100.
100.
1 to 1.3 million through the program.
I think that's great. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? And if not, a motion's in order.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
For me. Mr. Mayor, there are 2 times a year that the city moves its evening meeting to the morning because one because of Civic Youth Day and the other is the Christmas parade. December 3rd meeting is recommended to be moved to 9 a.m. and passage of the resolution would do that, and I recommend it for your approval.
Okay. Questions, comments, or motions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Forsythe, where are you? There he is.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is a proposal for engineering services for Phase 2 of the Mission Road sewer replacement. We're requesting approval of engineering services agreement with Rent McDuff Associates for an amount not to exceed $60,730. That involves design and complete construction management of that portion of sewer, which is specifically from West Avenue to Herring Street. And that is a portion of sewer that passes directly beneath a residence. So we're going to replace and relocate that sewer.
Okay.
This is a budgeted project. I recommend approval.
Okay. Any discussion on this item?
We have used them before, right? They've done projects for us before.
We have on smaller projects, yes, sir.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Sidney. Chief Culpepper, the next item, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council, members of the council. The police department, excuse me, periodically assesses the quality of the bulletproof vests that the officers wear. This is part of their life safety equipment. So we mandate that the officers on the road wear these vests. Over time, the material begins to deteriorate, the fibers come loose, and the vest loses its resistance capability. So we have 14 that need replacing, and that's at a cost of $9,940. $3,000 of that will be paid for through the Department of Justice Bulletproof Vest Program, which this vest meets the standards that are established for that program under the National Institute of Justice. The other $6,940 will be paid for out of asset forfeiture, which is an acceptable expense under that program, so we ask that you approve this purchase. We are using a vendor that supplies our clothing and equipment. The primary vendor is Galls. So they provide services of measuring and fitting and making sure everything is right. So we went directly to this vendor. They have been supplying these vests for us for a couple of years now.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for the chief on this item? Okay, none. Motion's in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Reinhardt.
Honorable Mayor and Council, replacement vehicles for Fire Department, the Recreation Department, Public Works, and Garage were placed in the budget this year and past. Bid packages were posted for these purchases on the city's website. Had 4 vendors actually return bids to me. Langdale Chevrolet did not bid the vans with cages that were specified in the bid packages, and the Ford products no longer make vans with a V8 engine anymore. After talking to the garage supervisor, it was recommended to purchase the vans from Langdale in the amount of $54,560. These are 8-cylinder vans. They did not place the cages in the bid packages, but the garage has gotten bids or quotes for specific cages that will satisfy the current needs of the city. Those added costs will be $800 to $1,000 per van. They can be installed for that. As far as the purchases for the 2 trucks, I recommend that the fiber and garage trucks be purchased from Prater Ford in the amount of $31,321.92 and $25,954.38 respectively. These trucks are both from Prater Ford. The total bid from Prater Ford on both these trucks was $57,276.30, and Robert Lohr bid $57,399, just a little bit over $100 difference. The garage recommended keeping with the Ford products, as most of our fleet is Ford products.
Okay. Any discussion on these items?
Mr. Reinhardt, we talked about in the work session, and you did your very best to get in touch with. When someone does not bid, is it usually because they don't have anything in stock? Is that, or?
In this particular case, the two vendors that did not bid on the vans, hold on. The one vendor that didn't bid on the garage truck, which is a 3/4, they just simply don't have anything in stock. The one vendor didn't bid on the van because the Dodge doesn't make vans in the size that we needed. And the one Ford vendor did not bid because he had the bid package but did not include a dollar amount, so I had to throw that one out.
Any other discussion?
Within budget, right?
Yes.
Okay, if there's no other discussion, a motion will be in order.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
unanimously. Thank you, Tom. Sam, you've got the next two, please.
Yeah, this is first one's a software upgrade for video units around the city. It's a sole source supplier. The amount of $14,765.40. It's recommended for your approval.
Questions, comments, or motions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next one, please.
Next one is a federal grant with state matching funds, and there's also a local match. Total in the amount of $2 million. It's to design, acquire property, to do storm drainage and bridge work at the airport. I'd recommend that you authorize the mayor to sign any and all documents related to the application and receipt of the grant.
Kind of like that authority. If there's any discussion or a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We do have one item to add to the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to add that item.
So moved. Second.
On a motion and a second, Connie, you can sort that out. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item is added. Chief Carter, please, sir.
Mayor and Council, thank you so much for adding this item this evening. What I bring before you, in the past, when we purchased our two fire trucks, as we told you at that point in time, once we got these trucks on the road, we would then be surplusing one of our older trucks. And I bring this truck to you tonight. It's a 1990 American Eagle fire truck that was actually purchased when Sonny Pritchett was the fire chief for the city of Cartersville. That's how long it's been. We have attempted to estimate the value of this truck as best as we could by checking with truck refurbished and also used fire apparatus dealers. And it appears that the value of this truck appears to be between $5,000 to $10,000. In the meantime, as we were going through this and getting ready to put the truck out on an open sale, we have been approached by Haralson County, the government of Haralson County and Haralson County Fire Department. And they feel that this truck would greatly actually enhance their operations within Haralson County, especially due to the economic conditions of the county and not having quite the abilities that maybe we're blessed to have here. But they have requested us to give them consideration for a direct buy of this fire truck. So tonight I bring before you requesting, first of all, that you would surplus this 1990 fire truck and remove it from the city's inventory, and allow us to proceed with a direct sale to the Haralson County government for their use. We have negotiated an agreed upon price of $7,500, but that will be open to council's discretion. This sale will be an as-is sale, no warranty given or implied, and if approved, our department will work with city legal and city financial to execute the sale.
Okay, so any motion, if one is forthcoming, would need to be to include surplusing this piece of equipment and allowing for the direct purchase to another government entity.
Two motions, Mayor.
And
Excuse me.
what do you do?
Two
Just
mo-
pull those
You
details
can
off?
do it
and
in
Just
one
lump them into
motion?
one.
Okay.
They just come right off?
Well, actually, the Keepback 911, those will come off. The Cartersville 1 Fire Department is actually painted on there, so we'll have to take and use some form of remover for that.
They'll have to.
Now, no, these don't, you don't do miles on these. How many hours has that got on it?
Extremely low. I hesitate to tell you, I can't tell you really off the top of my head, but it's about, on mileage, it's about 25,000 miles is actually on
Yeah,
this
but
truck.
don't you measure that by hours?
We do, and I'm sorry, I don't have those numbers in front of me.
I just thinking.
Chief, how much would we have to pay for a new truck with that? That's a good looking truck for 1990.
$7,600, and
They
it's
take
yours.
good care of our equipment.
No, he'd have to bid, he'd have to bid on it.
Ain't got no place to put
You
it.
get married a bit on it.
Well, Mayor, I'm just happy that we can help someone else in our state, and someone that needs it. I think that's a big win-win for us and Haralson County.
Well, they are extremely excited about the possibilities, and they have some very specific usage that I think will enhance their department and help them greatly.
Okay. So,
I'd like to make a motion to surplus our 1990 fire truck and to include all the comments the chief gave for it to be sold to Haralson County as per the document, the chief's comments. In other words, no warranty and the other comments.
Second that.
all right, we've got a motion in multiple seconds. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
And last bit of business we've got tonight, Mr. Wilson, if you'll please give us an update on our geotechnical.
Demolition and all that.
Opportunity.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, council, just here to update the sinkhole site at 4 Cook Street. We have recently hired a structural engineer to go in with us, look at the building to see if we could retrieve our materials out. We actually have a game plan now. Should be doing that next week. We have a procedure that we've taken their recommendations, put in place. Hopefully we can retrieve all our materials out before we demo the building. We are now getting demolition prices from local contractors to tear down the building, and we should have those in Monday. And we do just to take note. Once we actually have a $10,000 deductible on that, and so after that, insurance will pay for from our understanding, will pay for the demolition and the structural engineer. So that's pretty much it right now, and we will bring once we get those bids, we'll bring those back to council at our next meeting on October 15th. Any other questions?
Any discussion? Everybody good?
Thank you.
Thank
Hey.
you, Wade. Any other business that needs to come before council this evening?
Sounds like you're running on something.
We got all night, or somebody make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Adjourn. Get her up.